morning.
Yeah, go on, please.
Why are we stopping ourselves after this ranch and all the rest? Are they looking for where to bring their cow? Do you know that man is facing food crisis? And we have a vast land in Sadisa Forest. Very soon, according to history, I've not been there before. This is a forest bigger than that.
Emeka, I think we lost the call. Connection problem, perhaps. But just to quickly respond to what you said, the main problem is the weather. Now, yes, Sambisa forest is there, but the leaves there are not always green. Over in south, the chance of leaves being green throughout the year is really high. It's about 90% or even more. So because of that vegetation, it's why we have the attraction that we get in these areas. Josh in Port Harcourt, good morning. Oh, we lost the call from Josh. So you understand, it's why you see a lot of herders, nomadic ones, move this direction, because here the chances are that you're going to have rain all round, especially these areas, Rivers State, Bayelsa State, and Delta State. These three states see rainfall throughout the year. There's almost no dry season. Rain must fall. The plants are always green. In the Sambisa forest, yes, it's big, but then towards the end of the year, it's dry. If you go to Kogi now, go to parts of Abuja and other parts of the north, you would find it's dry. I'm telling you, it's dry. Dry as at when I was in Abuja, it was so dry, and here rain was still falling. This was before Christmas, so this was like first or second week of December. It was dry there already. You'd see dryness. I got to Kogi, it was dry, but in Port Harcourt here, you are still seeing rain. You are still seeing the vegetation is really green. You are still seeing in Bayelsa State the same thing. It is that attracts the herders to want to come this way. So it's not like we can't have. If we want to establish ranches in those areas, we can, but the cost would be more because we are going to rely on artificial means of water supply and other things to ensure that we always have the vegetation green and the food for the cattle to eat. So not that it's impossible to set up ranches. 81000203. And another interesting thing for me is the fact that NACDPAMN had also talked about a means of identifying the herders and a means of properly knowing which one is coming in and which one is going out. I think that's very fundamental because, like I said, if we must separate the resident herders or the mercenary herders from the regular ones, then it will be very important that we have a system in place that tells you which herder is a mercenary, which one is living here, which one is coming in, which new one came in from where, and how many cattle they came in with. It's a whole system that, if properly put in place and well managed, would to a large extent reduce the conflict. Progress in Auda, good morning.
Progress is calling for Bokolo.
Yes, please.
They will remain in the place for which the local government will be provide for them. The fear of encroachment. These people, as soon as you give them a place, they will like to expand. More people come in. That is their way of life. And that is the fear of our people. That by the time you begin to give them a place, they own the place. By the time you know they build religious houses and all that. And it will be difficult if you want for any reason. We know. But at the same time, if you're doing any business in any corner, you must be sure that you are to provide for that your business. It's not to go scamping for somebody's own in order to feed your own. That is what we are talking about. It's a welcome development, but proper legislation, the land which they are to use should be fenced so that they will not encroach, they will not easily leave the place. That is thank you.
All right, thank you, Progress. I think what you just said is the idea of a ranch. You fence it now, that's why it's a ranch. A large expanse of land that would be fenced, and you have the cattle in there with other amenities needed to see that the cattle thrive, and those people that will be watching or managing the cattle also are comfortable. And in Emoha, the suggestion is that there would also be a market with that. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a meat market where people can, like a slaughter market. Where you can discuss people want to would come and buy and so on and so forth. It's a laudable idea when you think of it on paper. However, where we usually have problems is with implementation, proper implementation and execution. That's where we usually have problems with policies and all of things like this in this country. But if we are able to scale through that, then it would make sense. We have to look at it from a holistic approach. And should every other council begin to look at this suggestion, especially those councils where we've been having stories of dispute between herders and farmers, if we have these, do you think it would solve that problem? Would it annihilate that dispute between farmers and herders? 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0002. Another thing most of us have said is, oh, if you give these people land, they would want to encroach and take more and take extra. I don't know how true that is. I don't know why we have that impression. Because let me give a typical example. In River State now, there are areas, there are people who have given their lands to some of these guys who do the scrap business. I don't think those guys have said that they want to take extra land and add to the one that they were given. True. If I'm being honest, there are many of them who occupy this scrap business and they get land that they dump scrap and they do all of that and they live there and the morning they wake up and go about there. I don't think they've asked for more land, have they? So I don't know how we got the idea from that, oh, if you legitimately give land to certain people to do business, over time, they would want to demand for more land. I don't know how we arrived at that. Favor in Port Harcourt, good morning to you. I lost the call from Favor. We're almost out of time. I guess that promised it was going to get here early enough. Unfortunately, it's looking like we might not have him in the studio because we have less than 10 minutes to the end of a conversation, if not less than 5 minutes even. Whatever it is that is holding him up, I don't know. But we had hoped that we would have him here to get the moment. The last time we had him, we didn't get the opportunity to really discuss with you one-on-one and have you ask him these critical questions, and it was the reason why I thought it would be wise to have him again. However, on our second effort, it's still looking like we might not have enough time to have him respond to your questions. Let's go over to WhatsApp now and take some of your comments. On WhatsApp, the number is 0809 030 6416. Good morning. This one says scrap is not herding, please. They are likely going to encroach in other lands. That's the problem. You understand what ranching is? I don't think you would say that scrap is not herding because it's same business. You think that the people who carry scrap would not need more space to keep more scrap? They would. They would need more space to keep more scrap, but do they ask for more land? No. And if they want more land, there's a proper channel to have that conversation. Ranches are usually a wide expanse of land that's going to have certain facilities in it. All right. And then you are then going to have to supply the food and other things. Besides, the ranch would also have vegetation, don't forget. But then there will definitely be room for people to supply finance and run their cattle business just like others. They are certainly what these people are not. There's something these people are not telling us. Let's be very careful. I don't think that in the idea of what the MOA Council might want to do, it means that they are dashing anybody the land. It's still the land that belongs to the council. But the council has decided to say, okay, would allow you use here for this purpose. It doesn't mean that the council have said it's now your land. So I'm pretty sure all of those conversations will be held. If you give forest the white people, they will transform it, make it vegetative for cattle to graze. Politicians only know how to loot money. Bernard from Port Harcourt. Well, let's not the loot money part. I don't know, but when you say that it is possible to transform parts of the Sambisa forest to ranches and make it a green, all year round green vegetation for farmers and for herders to, ride their cattle. I agree that it's possible. It might require a cost, but it's doable. After all, Egypt is running on the Nile River. Somehow it found a way to move water from the Nile to its farms, irrigation, right? So it's possible. This issue of herders and farmers is being overemphasized. There is a grazing law that can take care of this issue, but it appears there is no political will on the part of government to enforce the law. Well, the people who are supposed to enforce the law is beyond the government, is the police. Have they execute it now? This one says, why does it look like you sound the conversation? Okay, well, my brother, because it makes sense. If government comes up with a policy that makes sense, why would you want to fight it if it makes sense? So sit and tell me that a ranch doesn't make sense to solve the problem between farmers and herders. Does it or does it not? Almost all of you that have called have said it does. And if you critically look at how a ranch operates, would it not take care of that dispute if we are able to fully implement it? So if it makes sense and the policy makes sense, why must it be an issue? Why must we find a way to fight it or antagonize it or make it look like there's a flaw? Everything that's supposed to be an issue within this particular ranch situation has been highlighted by some of the callers. Unfortunately, my guest couldn't make it into the studio to respond to some of those concerns that we may have had. If he was here, maybe there were a few questions I would have also asked for clarification so that all of you who are listening would understand better where this is coming from. And maybe when you have those concerns, questions answered, you would be more comfortable. Anyways, that's how much we can take on the show. We have to go now. My name is Ifiemi Andrew. Good morning.